I want to dive into some of these questions. I'm really interested to pick your brain about the webinar and get your thoughts and just kind of hear what's happened over the last couple of weeks with you guys. And so just calling back on the webinar itself. I mean, what was your favorite part about the webinar?
Man, it's tough to pick, Brad, a favorite part. I just enjoyed the entire environment, the structure, the dialogue. Jason's enthusiasm was very infectious. His engagement with the team, the ability to not only take away kind of strategic or philosophical ideas, but also come away with some tactical strategies that you could, really put into practice the moment that you got off that webinar. And so it was kind of a culmination of everything and how it flowed in the dialogue. I've been part of webinars and often it's one way, right? And it's, an individual, sharing experiences or offering advice, which is great. I felt like, it was different with Jason because we had that, but there was also that, audience interaction, if you will. And I think that helps make it more personal and, keeps people's attention and you retain more and you benefit more from that when you're engaged versus just, listening, so to speak.
Yeah. So was there any takeaways that you had from the webinar that allowed you to maybe coach on over the last couple of weeks and, maybe see some changes in your team based on some coaching points that you've had?
Yeah, there was several. The one that, really resonated with me that I took away and promptly followed up, with a video and an email message to the team was all about self-talk and the power of positive self-talk and, the pitfalls of negative self-talk and how, breaking it down into the A and B mindset, the self-talk, number one, truly matters and we all do it. And so to be cognizant of that, and then once you're cognizant of that, to be able to really hold yourself accountable. Am I A? Do I want to be average? Am I okay with average? Or would I rather be the B mentality and have that B positive, talk, which we talked about being a baller or, kind of that Buffett mentality. And so, that's something that I've always very much believed in. I don't know how much I've really talked to the team, ironically, about that. You tend to talk more about strategy and execution and stuff like that, but diving deeper into even before you start to think about and execute on strategies, what is your mindset and what is your self-talk? Because that is going to frame how people see you, how you approach the day, how you approach adversity and so forth. So we've spent a fair amount of time kind of digesting that. I've challenged the team to, which are you? And this is day in, day out. What were you before COVID? What are you now? And what are you going to be beyond it? Because no matter what's going on, you're going to have that self-talk. And the more that we can stay and be and keep ourselves in that B mindset, the better off we're going to be, not only professionally, but personally. So that's one of many things that I took away and kind of ran with, out of the gate.
Yeah, I love that. I love that the self-talk piece was so big for you because, we have something we call the results matrix that we teach off of a lot. And, programming drives beliefs, beliefs drives emotion, emotion drives motivation, motivation, behavior, and behavior results. And so everything starts with what goes in, right? So what comes in defines internal dialogue. What you allow in determines internal dialogue. And our beliefs are nothing more than thoughts we keep thinking. Well, if you think about where thoughts come from, they come from your internal dialogue, right? What you allow to filter, this is your filtering system. And so that internal dialogue, it's foundational, it's fundamental to having your beliefs in the right place, your emotions in line, your motivation, going in the right direction, so that your behavior yields the type of results that you want. And we dive into that a ton in our training. But I love that you said self-talk, because it's such a foundational piece of the whole system. So that's really great.
It is.
Oh, go ahead.
I say it is, and it's what I find, it's easy to overlook that.
Mm-hmm.
To not validate or realize how big of piece of the equation that is when you look at being a successful sales professional or manager or leader itself. So it really made me kind of stop, and even though I completely agree with it, I'm like, we need to spend a little bit more time on dissecting this and making sure that our mindset day in, day out is in the right place. And if we can get there, we're going to be that much, further along in being successful and staying successful and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So was there anything tactical that Jason taught on the webinar that you maybe randomly caught your team using, or heard a story about somebody on your team using that helped them, specifically move a sell forward since the webinar?
It's actually it's your background there. Be the light. There was it was just kind of a quote or a saying that came out during that webinar, and it was, be a light in a dark tunnel, even in these uncertain times. And, that translates, to us, having a positive attitude, looking, if you need to, and you haven't sold something, look at the division success and parlay that into, the positivity that's going on, even if you hadn't sold something for a while. And that would give people kind of a different take and almost permission to purchase, especially during these times when there's a lot of rhetoric out there that maybe you shouldn't be, making a purchase decision to the magnitude of buying a home and so forth. So, that is something that I've seen and I've heard from, several sales professionals that they've, taken that to heart and really tried to exemplify that each day. And they feel like that has proved dividends in those that they've met with, and sometimes repeat visitors and so forth. And they've been able to progress those buyers in the sales process. And I do believe we've even procured one sign up, just dedicated to that mindset.
That's great. I love hearing that. That's awesome. Yeah. That is really awesome to hear. So obviously be the light. That's one major piece that is different about our webinar here than maybe some of the other ones that you've seen in the past. But what are some other differences that you saw with this webinar versus maybe other webinars that you've been a part of, even during the coronavirus or during these uncertain times right now in 2020?
Yeah, and I know I mentioned it earlier. I mean, to me, the big difference was just the engagement. And then just some of the concentrations on, words matter, your mindset matters. It wasn't about, the quote unquote sales process and sales strategies, even though, as we've talked about, that we definitely took away and derived some tactical measures. It was about more the mental approach and being prepared. And, a lot of the stuff that you don't think about, but are so profound and so important and so critical, to being a successful sales professional. And not only successful, but consistently being able to be a high performer. Because let's face it, in this industry, in any profession, there's peaks and valleys. And so you've got to be able to weather those storms, and not only weather it, but come out better for it. And so, to be able to focus on a lot of the mindset and the power of words and the power of your self-talk and so forth, to me is just critical. And quite frankly, was a lot different than other engagements or webinars, sales kind of sessions and stuff like that that I've had the opportunity to participate in, pre or even, during COVID.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know about you, but a lot of my experiences with webinars have been based around PowerPoint bullet point presentations and talking points. And just for me and my perspective on this webinar, one of the reasons why I could watch it over and over and over again as well is because I don't feel like it is that it's a PowerPoint presentation. I agree with you on the power of words and on the mindset and diving in. I feel like it's just a little bit deeper. Or not a little bit, but a lot deeper in just in the webinar, just in the 1 hour that Jason talked. It's much deeper than what most people are willing to go during that time frame. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
100% agree. It, oftentimes you'll see PowerPoints, or you see, bulleted items, or, the dry erase boards or what have you. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, just, Jason's approach, his personality, enthusiasm, the engagement and so forth. It was just a very refreshing and kind of welcoming type environment to really, for people to engage, to learn, and, to challenge themselves.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. So I'm curious, I want to get your thoughts on this piece, because this is one of Jason's biggest tactical pieces that we teach in this webinar. It's how to answer the question, so how's business during an uncertain time or during a coronavirus or anything? So how's business? And his response is, well, tell me, what do you mean? Well, we came from, builder XYZ or company XYZ. And, they were telling me all about how sales are slowing down, how traffic's bad, how they're having to lower their forecast, how they're not making their sales numbers. So I'm just curious, how's business? And Jason says, oh, I get it. Well, yeah, that's them. That's not us. We're very successful right now. In fact, we've improved the lives of over 500 families in the last 30 days. So, people are still buying right now, and they're typically looking for either to downsize their home, they're looking to upgrade a new home, or they have a growing family and they're trying to buy a bigger place. Tell me, what brings you in today? So I'm curious, just with that piece of tactic, that small piece of tactic right there, what are your thoughts on how that works in your sales process, and how do you feel that it establishes position of strength in the selling conversation?
Well, I mean, Brad, you just hit it on the head. Number one, I love that tactical approach, and it's something that we've been talking about, practicing, and I've encouraged each and every sales professional on my team to utilize. That's them, that's not us, and it's so true, and it really resonated with me and our team, quite frankly, because it supports, our stance of selling from a position of strength, as you talked about, but also leaning on our, unique selling propositions, which we talk a lot about, what makes us different than XYZ builder down the street or next to us or what have you. And let's talk about that. But it also supports, our consumer inspired approach, where, we really focus on the personalization standpoint. Let's talk about why you walked in. Let's talk about why you're looking for a home and how we can make your life better. We're not here selling homes on the clearance rack. We're here to change lives. And we want to be, that partner, that consultant for you that helps to identify, if this is the right match, if this community, this home, if we have what you're looking for to help change your life. And, matter of fact, we've sold 200 homes in the last 45 days. So, we enjoy helping people find a better home, find a better community, neighborhood, and change their lives in a positive manner. So, to me, when all the flashy neon signs and everything like that are promoting, all these incentives and so forth. It's a refreshing way to emphasize what's near to our core. You know, we're focused on you, on why you walked in and how we can change your life for the better. So that's them, that's not us. You know, works perfectly in kind of our sales methodology and what we strive to do each and every day. You know, when we unlock those model doors and the sales office doors, and the impact that we want to make on the community.
Awesome.